Hi, today we're going to talk about founding a colony on Mars, some problems that we might face, and how to solve them.
Mars is a planet that is relatively close compared to other planets in the solar system. For many years, it has been of interest to scientists. In the solar system, there are only four rocky planets: Earth, Mars, Venus, and Mercury. The other planets are gas giants: Jupiter and Saturn, or ice giants: Neptune and Uranus, which, due to their condition, it is impossible to think of establishing a human colony. Of the rocky planets mentioned above, Mercury and Venus, due to their high temperatures, it will be impossible to live there. Therefore, the only option to create a colony of humans in the red planet, as Mars is commonly known, it is for the reason that we have long wanted to colonize this planet. The long distance that exists between the Earth and Mars is one of the main obstacles to achieve this, but is not all. Mars is very different from Earth. It is for the reason that the following are the problems that must be mentioned to overcome if we can to establish a human colony in this place. Our planet, thanks to its magnetic fields and its relatively dense atmosphere, keeps us safe from solar radiation. This will not occur on Mars. On the contrary, this planet doesn't have a magnetic field and its atmosphere is very slim. The radiation that will be received is around 700 times more than Earth. The problems with this will be that people quickly will suffer from cancerous diseases. Another problem that must be solved is related to low temperatures that the planet has. The nights are very cold with temperatures around minus 80 degrees Celsius. Another issue to be solved is the lack of water. This is a fundamental requirement for life, so people must think about how to obtain it in order to establish a colony of humans. Another problem will be that on Mars we couldn't breathe. On Earth we can, because the atmosphere is made of nitrogen 80%, oxygen 21%, and the remaining 1% is made up of a set of gases: argon, carbon dioxide, neon, and helium. Mars, on the other hand, has an atmosphere composed of the following compounds that make it impossible for humans to breathe: carbon dioxide, 95%, carbon monoxide, water vapor, and the rest of methane.
Another problem that we found is the production of food, because in Mars, soil is composed basically of a lot of iron, which explains its red color. So the production of food has to be solved because we don't have the same type of soil we have on Earth.
Regarding the radiation problem, an NASA scientist named James Green proposed that a solution is to place a magnetic dipole as a satellite to accompany the planet in its orbit, protecting it. A dipole is a point element that produces a dipole magnetic field, two opposite magnetic poles. James claims that miniature artificial magnetospheres have already been created to protect spacecraft crews. NASA researchers carry out simulations according to which a magnetic field located at the so-called Lagrange point would be sufficient to increase the thickness of the atmosphere and the temperature by 4 degrees Celsius. Lagrange point, or L points, are the position in a orbital system where an object can be stationary with respect to larger objects. The artificial magnetosphere could deflect solar winds just like a natural magnetic field. The rise in temperature in turn could melt carbon dioxide at the planet's north pole. and this could create a greenhouse effect that could further increase the temperature until reaching conditions compatible with the presence of liquid water. To ensure the protection against radiation, the ideal is to spend as much time as possible in cave, so the houses to be built should be built here. In addition, nowadays NASA tests special suits that will allow future colonizers to walk on Mars being protected against radiation. As for temperatures, on Mars during the day, almost always sunny, of about minus 50 degrees Celsius on average, although in summer and equatorial areas they can be recorded up to 20 degrees Celsius, which can drop to minus 80 degrees Celsius at night. In order to establish a colony, the ideal would first be to do it in summer, so the change is not so abrupt. With regard to the night, the biggest problem is due to the low temperatures, as just mentioned. So houses or special spaces that are heated must be created to keep people warm at night. On days other than summer, in order to survive, the ideal is to use special suits, such as those used on trip to the moon, which allow to maintain an optimal temperature.
Subglacial lakes. As far as water is concerned, there is a study in the journal Nature Astronomy in which three subglacial lakes were detected near the South Pole, although they are not confirmed to be fresh water, and the conditions that the planet presents is difficult to keep the water liquid, but you can adapt a specific place and treat his frozen water with dissolved salts of magnesium and calcium perchlorate, which helps keep the water liquid and temperatures down to minus 123 degrees Celsius. Produce oxygen on Mars. Another problem to overcome is how to breathe on Mars. Recently, the United States became the first country to produce breathable air on another planet. This was possible through an instrument that was brought the Perseverance. This instrument is a device that was designed to test whether it could produce full and breathable air. The instrument called MOXIE and managed to produce 5 grams of oxygen, and this amount is enough for an astronaut can breathe for 10 minutes. MOXIE absorbs carbon dioxide and breaks it up inside through a process of electrolysis at about 800 degrees, which produces pure oxygen molecules and discards the carbon monoxide. Um, I I try intend to send an instrument to similar to MOXIE, but of large dimensions to produce oxygen in large quantities. Uh, for the people can breathe for many time and more people uh, can breathe.
Now, about the food problem, research has shown that some plants that are commonly used for food can actually grow on Mars's soil. Only perchlorates should be taken away by a leash. But for the establishment of crops, a greenhouse that protects against radiation would be required. Also, since sunlight and temperature in Mars are lower than in Earth, the greenhouse should have a light source and temperature regulation for the plants to grow appropriately. Kale, onions, peas, microgreens, and lettuce are some of the plants that can be grown in Mars's soil. The method that would have to be followed to make these crops would be prepare the seeds on Earth, then in Mars acclimate the material on Mars's environment, then prepare the soil, taking the perchlorates away, then plant the seeds, and finally keep the plants in a place with the required conditions for growing.
Considering that we already identified the most important challenges and already gave them an adequate solution, it's time to act. First, we need to develop an adequate spaceship. That means enough space for people and for resources, such as food, oxygen, and equipment for the first days of survival, until we can start producing our own food and install the machines that can produce oxygen, like the Moxie in Perseverance rover. Once we have designed and built a rocket, it's time to select who's going to travel to Mars. That can be determined from testing different persons from different places in the world that are certified as healthy and strong. After that, it's important to train them in order to make them capable of installing the equipment and surviving the toughness of the trip, from the journey in the space to the first days in Mars, where they should start installing and preparing the equipment for their own survival. Also, it is important to include in the crew doctors, scientists, and engineers who can solve any problem on the way. After that, it's just a matter of time to send them. When they arrive, the first mission should be to prepare the devices that will allow them to have breathable air and drinking water. Once they have solved those initial conditions and having food in their supplies from Earth, they can start working in safe homes and obtaining food. During the initial months, more supplies can be sent from Earth to ensure their correct nutrition and health, such as food, medicines, and clothes. Also, replacement parts in case of any failure in the most important devices. Having created the structures to grow food from seeds provided from Earth and successfully obtaining water, oxygen, and homes for everyone, it's time to add more people to the colony so they can help it grow a little more. More engineers and scientists can be sent from Earth so they build more and more safe houses and edifications. Having enough space, resources, and health guarantees, the people should be able to start reproducing in a strongly controlled way in Mars, and the first babies of the colony can be born. While everything continues to grow and develop, more people can be sent and more babies can be born, while everyone collaborates with the maintenance of the colony and helps the others.